Robots Radio presents...
Rated M for mature.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's The Download, Weekly Gaming News. I am Jameson, and this is going to be a weird episode because Brenna's out of town, and I still wanted to give you guys some content, so it's just going to be me today. So, it's going to get a little weird in here. Probably not, actually. It'll probably be super boring, because we all know Brenna's the most entertaining one here. Anyway, there will also be no chat room guests this week, no chat room segment, just because, again, Brenna's out of town, and we want to make sure we're both kind of there for that fun segment. We also are sponsored by Loot Crate. I got my first Loot Crate this past week, and I posted it on social media. Got some pretty sweet stuff. Got a Pip-Boy phone charger, controller charger holder. Super cool for you Fallout fans. And then I also got this Street Fighter community art book. It was really cool. Anyway, we're super stoked to be sponsored by them. Currently we have a link in the description as well as a code for 15% off. Use both of those and you can enjoy the rewards on that as well as some cool stuff. We'll be changing it up soon, so we'll just have a link for you guys in the future. Oh, all right. Big news. This will probably be a pretty fast episode too because it's just me, or it could even be much longer because I just run on all sorts of tangents. So first off, last week we had Ubisoft Forward, which is, I guess, Ubisoft's new state of play. So they're going to be doing it multiple times a year. So they've already said that they'll be doing one this fall around the time their games start to release. So that's nifty already. But before we get into that, Ubisoft did, prior to this, they put out a thing saying, you're going to see some people here that are no longer with the company. But they put out a statement as well saying that they are doing a comprehensive overhaul of their company as well as resigning, not really resigning, but shoving some people out the door in order to bring about change within the company. And I think that is a great thing. It's nice to see that some of these companies are taking, steps to correct what could be years of issues within it. So not going to dwell on that too much. But so Ubisoft 4, we got to see Assassin's Creed. We got to see Far Cry 6. There we go. We also got to see Watch Dogs Legion. Not too much else other than that, unfortunately. No Skull and Bones, no Rainbow Six Quarantine. Hopefully we'll see some of that at the next Ubisoft Forward, but those games keep getting delayed and I really just want to play them. But we did get to see a lot of cool stuff for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, even though the gameplay got leaked and we kind of talked about most of it already. We'll kind of hit on some of the big things. So the release date is confirmed for November 17th, which is 2 days before? Yeah, 2 days before Cyberpunk. So, get cranking on that game because once Cyberpunk comes out, you're going to have no life. They showed us about 30 minutes of gameplay. It's out there if you want to watch it. To me, it looks like Assassin's Creed meets Witcher meets I want to say Mass Effect, but I think I'd rather say Skyrim instead. It just looks really good. I liked everything I saw, and they're doing a nifty new thing where they're not having traditional side quests. So it was kind of a deceptive article that we saw that said that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will have no fuck off. Trying to interrupt my thing. I hate when videos fucking play automatically. So they're not going to have any side quests. That's very deceptive. So they've changed side quests to be world events. So basically, it's going to be much more organic. That is, you're walking around in the world. That is, you're talking and you're interacting with people. People might just say, hey, can you do this for me? And these extra activities will happen spontaneously. And they're not going to be just quests you have to seek out. Love this. Love this. And we actually got to see this in action with Ghost of Tsushima too, which is super cool, but we'll get to that real soon. We got to see some fishing, some fleeting, some talking, some raids, some combat. The game just looks like it's going to be super fun. And if you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or even just familiar with it, you know that there were 2 gender options available. You could play as Alexios or Cassandra. And in Odyssey, they actually had 2 kind of different-ish storylines. And so in Valhalla, we already know we have a male and a female Ivor. However, they are the one and the same character. So depending on which gender you play will have 0 impact on the story, which is really cool. And on top of that, Ubisoft has said they've taken it one step further, and at any time, you can swap your gender throughout the game. You are not locked into one or the other, which I also think is very cool to see as well. And additionally, going on with the gender options, there will be no restrictions on romance options depending on which gender you're playing. You're going to be able to romance everybody. Men, women, other people, goats, whatever you feel like. Sometimes you just got to stay warm during those cold Norse nights. That joke probably landed really flat, but that's okay. So that is just about everything we got to see on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We also got to see a cool trailer and a release date for Far Cry 6. It's coming out February 18th, 2021. And I got to say, it looks pretty cool. It looks like almost like a world based on Cuba, where it's more modern time, but it also has the like that old timiness, the cars and whatnot. And Juan Carlos Esposito, who was Los Pollos Hermanos in Breaking Bad, is going to play the main villain, and his son Diego is getting ready to take over leadership. People are still people are still guessing that Diego is actually Voss from Far Cry 3, which I'm leaning towards that. It was a pretty cool trailer. In addition to that, the music is being done by Pedro Bromfman, who did the TV show Narcos for Netflix. So it sounds like it's going to be a real banger of a game, and hopefully so, because Far Cry, the last couple of Far Cries have just not been very good to me. Far Cry 3 will always be my favorite. So I would like to see something more out of Far Cry. It's been kind of fallen flat lately. Additionally, we got to see some Watch Dogs Legion gameplay after that game had been postponed many times. They just showed us more of the same things that we kind of seen before, different people they were using and whatnot. But one thing that kind of rubbed people the wrong way is that they took a famous quote from the Holocaust and tried to revamp it to play over their trailer, to promote Watch Dogs Legions, and that's just a hard nope. So, you're probably familiar with the quote. It goes like this. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So that's a pretty famous quote regarding the Holocaust, and Watch Dogs tried to, spin that to use for themselves. So first they came for the foreigners, then they came for the protesters, then they came for the journalists, then they came for the street artists. I realized eventually they'd come for me and there would be no one left to speak for me. So it kind of follows the same lines, but it's fine if you want to pay homage to, a major historical event, but you got to do it in the right way, and you got to not twist it so much. So I don't know. I can see what they were going for creatively, and I can understand the appeal of trying to set that tone. But there's just some things you just I can go both ways on it. So that's kind of pretty much it for Watch Dogs Legion and most of Ubisoft Forward. So they had another one coming up in I believe October, which is when Watch Dogs Legions comes out as well. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we will see some Skull and Bones and some Rainbow Six Quarantine, because those have been long delayed, and I want to see more of that. Up next, this past week, we had the release date of Ghost of Tsushima. And I gotta say, just everything I see about this game just makes me really wish I had a PlayStation to play it. Metacritic scores out there are looking solid so far. I'm seeing lots of 9 out of 10s. And it's receiving just critical praise in Japan. People are loving the authenticity of the game, and people are just loving a lot of the mechanics, the photo mode. Oh my goodness, people are putting out all sorts of pictures in the game, and some of them they have filters, some of them they don't. They're just, basically screenshots, and it just looks beautiful. The story I've heard so far is phenomenal. The world is beautiful, and they've gone extra lengths to really make it feel immersive and not have you focusing on like a mini map the whole time or the UI, by adding, animals that kind of guide you to hidden places or temples or, all that kind of stuff. So, and then, like I said, with the, the quest, it's a lot of just talking to people in the game, talking to the characters and whatnot. So it's really quite a killer title. This is definitely going to be a contender for Game of the Year, because it's just exceeded everyone's expectations. Insomniac really Sucker Punch really just knocked it absolutely out of the park. Insomniac did Spider-Man. So good on them. I really can't wait to get my hands on it. I might have to borrow someone's PlayStation. Again, I'm sorry I'm kind of just blowing through everything, but it's just, just me today. And so I still wanted to bring you guys the news in, kind of a, I guess, fun and informative matter. And I could sit here and I could probably babble to myself for a long time. So I'm trying just to stay focused. So that was the big stuff for last week. The little things, Disney Plus is creating a new animated Clone Wars TV show focusing on the Bad Batch, which is a group of failed elite clone troopers. That's cool and all, but I would much rather see a series on clone commandos like Omega Squad. If you're a fan of Star Wars and you're a fan of Star Wars books, I highly recommend going and reading the Omega Squad books. I believe there's 4 of them. They are just absolutely so good. They really look at Star Wars from a different side and really delve into a lot of like actual issues in real life too. So highly recommend that. Would have much rather seen a series for that, but you know what? I'm here for it. Also, this past week we had the passing of Grant. We had the passing of Grant Imahara, which is very sad to see. He's a former Lucasfilm Industrial Light and Magic engineer, as well as a former co-host of the popular TV show Mythbusters, one of my absolute favorite shows growing up. And he's worked on all sorts of movies as well through ILM. What did I say? IMF? No. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, as well as Lucasfilm's THX. And he was just such a cool guy. Really sad to hear about him passing away. What else? A Twitch evangelist has been, or a evangelist who is also a Twitch streamer, has been banned from Twitch after telling a child, that he would go to hell if he didn't accept Jesus into their life. Like, just why? Why? And then he goes and starts, tweeting about cancel Christianity culture, and just, no, bro, that's not how it works. So he's playing Fortnite. Like, come on, dude. Like, come on. Just because it's America doesn't mean we all have to be fucking Christian. America is the goddamn melting pot. We are the place that everybody can call home. Even if we are absolute clowns sometimes, we do try and make the best for everybody. So it would be nice to see, people start treating other people with more respect, especially with everything that's going on. So this dude totally deserved to be banned. What a clown. Speaking of clowns, though, Red Dead Redemption. Players have been dressing up in-game as clowns and posting pictures and whatnot to protest the fact that Rockstar has basically just ignored the game since it came out. That Red Dead Online has had a year since it received its last meaningful update with content. And so people are rightfully upset, and Rockstar is just kind of ignoring them and not doing anything about the game. Like, they haven't posted anything about it. Like, I just genuinely don't know what they are doing with Red Dead Redemption right now. I've heard that they're working on some new titles, but usually they're really good about supporting their game. So who knows what is happening there. Call of Duty has also, last week we talked about how they removed the OK symbol for being hate speech. Well, this week they've changed the name of one of their skins. So one of their operators had a skin named Border War, and it was like a police skin, cowboy hat. And the line of this, the tagline of the skin was, "Show them the errors of their ways and make them pay." They've changed it to Home on the Range now. Even though it still has the large police patch. It's just, I don't know. I wouldn't have. That's just, that was just a poor decision from the beginning. I wouldn't have gone that direction with the skin. The southern border is such a touchy subject, and it's something that needs to be addressed, and people keep ignoring, and there's just a lot of bad stuff happening down there, and that was very poor decision making. The OK sign, I don't get, because it's an OK sign. Like, I get people are using it for hate speech, but it really just means fucking okay. But the border war skin, that's no bueno. Additionally, No Man's Sky is still kicking. They're still going strong. They have a new update coming up called Desolation, which will be a horror-themed update that adds abandoned freighters filled with salvage and alien threats, so players can, breach in and explore what's inside. So it sounds like almost like a Dead Space update for No Man's Sky, which is very cool. And DrDisrespect has finally spoken. I know, we've been waiting. Well, let me tell you, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer because he says a whole fuck lot of nothing. So in his interview with PC Gamer, which his people reached out to PC Gamer asking to do an to get them to do an interview with him. And so they sat down and they talked to him, asked him why he's been banned, what's been going on. And he said, it's unfortunate. He's working on, what to do next. Said that he's not he's currently not looking at any exclusives. Still trying to figure out what he wants to do next. He's got his. He said he's considering starting his own, I guess, streaming service on his website where he just stream personally there, as well as he's got YouTube or Facebook if any of them would take him. And so they went, third question, and they asked him, hey, what's been going on? And he kind of dodges the question and just, says that, about what happened and like how he started getting alerts from people, that he got banned and features were getting turned off. And that's why he ended his stream. And so it sounds like too, a lot of his projects have been put on hold as well too, because of the Twitch ban. And he says that Twitch just cut off contact with him, that they've never provided a reason for the ban, which we all know is just flat out, because Twitch sends out automated emails every time you're banned or suspended, giving the reason, what you violated, the reason, what policies you violated, the reason, and for how long. So he totally knows why he's been banned, and he just doesn't want to share it, which, of course, PC Gamer followed up saying, that seems crazy that you're one of the biggest, streamers on their service and they wouldn't tell you. So he's just, sorry, I need some water. So he's just blowing smoke. He knows exactly why he's banned. And so the person, even got out there and said, hey, I'm not a famous streamer, but if I was a famous streamer and I got banned for no reason, especially considering the DrDisrespect character and who he is, I think my response would be to get out on social media and shout from the rooftops and be like, hey, this is really unfair. And why haven't you done that? To which Doc basically said that there are things happening besides the scenes from a legal standpoint, and you can't really talk about it. So A, that says to me that there's legal action coming against him, and B, that he's exploring legal action against someone else. So but he says he's working on the whole Doc 3.0, and that's the next thing. But and he said he's going to look at legal action against Twitch, but they're not sure on how they're going to proceed. But bottom line, it's even they've even asked him like if he talked about controversial, him talking about controversial things, and thinking that would lead to his ban, and he replied no. And so they even straight up asked him, what might be the cause, and he started to say, I don't know. And then his publicist stepped in and said, hey, we're getting in really dangerous territory here, so Doc, we don't know why Twitch banned him, and there's no formal warnings or reprimands on record, and that's all legal is going to let him say. So there's just something super sketchy going on here. The rest of the interview pretty much just goes, on to talk about what he's working on next, about his character and all that, which is just mostly just a bunch of puff. But there's really just something shady going on, and we can speculate all day. My personal speculation is his ban came down at the same time that a lot of people were coming forward about sexual harassment on Twitch, and Twitch was really starting to crack down on a lot of these. And my guess is that it was something along the lines of that, some form of harassment, whether it was sexual or not, we don't know. But to me, that seems the reason why they would just blanket remove him, no questions asked. So I don't know. There has to be something going on. The fact that he has his legal teams involved and they're like preventing him from, they're telling him not to say things, tells me that someone has a lawsuit against him, and that anything he says in the interview could incriminate him or be used against him, because it would be public record and whatnot. So I don't know. Could be interesting. We'll keep following what's going on with him. Additionally, this week we have the Xbox Game Showcase on July 23rd at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And they've announced that there's going to be no talk of hardware, no talk of Xbox Series X, none of that, tech stuff. That's going to be 100% games and gameplay. So that will be very cool to see. And probably the greatest thing to pop up on the internet in recent weeks, especially if you're a PC gamer, is a video of Henry Cavill. He posted a video of himself building a desktop PC, and he's playing some like fantastic, like romantic music the whole time. He's wearing a tank top. It was hilarious to watch, but it was also super cool just to see, someone famous, even though we know Henry Cavill is just an absolute nerd. But it was super cool to see someone famous building a PC and being a part of PC culture, as well as just like struggling to build a PC. Like, he had his moments in there where you could see the frustration, and you could see that he'd been working on it for hours. He started at daytime, and eventually he's going and it's dark outside. Like, so that he was experiencing the real struggles that many of us experience when building PCs. So that was just super cool to see. Henry Cavill is like one of our absolute favorite people for Brenna and I. God, Brenna says she would die if we got him on the show. That would be unreal. Like, I would probably die too, to be honest. What a man. What a man. Destiny 2 has unfortunately been delayed from September to October, citing that COVID-19 pandemic continues to be a challenge for their development team, and that the new release date will be November 10th, a week before Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk, which raises the question now of, one, are they going to extend their season of arrivals to, match the new date? And two, how successful will their next big expansion be when you have, two such massive titles coming out a week after that? So, I know it will be a good game, and I definitely have no issues when companies postpone a game in order to make it better, but it's certainly tough timing for them. Probably one of Brenna and my least favorite people in the gaming / just pop culture cosplay community would be Belle Delphine. And unfortunately, she is in the news again with the latest of her business ventures. If you remember, a year ago, she sold bathwater. Her bathwater completely sold out, absolutely stupidly absurd. Well, she's back at it again. And this time, instead of bathwater, she is selling gamer girl condoms. I literally can't make this up. Like, it's just a video of her telling "Rise Up, Gamer Boys" as she like blows up one of her condoms and like giggles. And then the caption of the video is basically like, if you're watching this, you're not going to need them anyway. Well, shocker, they sold out like almost immediately. And they were $10 a condom. Like, just people just I can't even. We're gonna move on from that. Another sad thing is, as one of our fellow listeners, Dr. Brandroid, pointed out, called them simp bucks. We guesstimated that she makes several $1 million a year between her OnlyFans and her other content. That's just makes me sad. What also makes me sad is deceptive headlines. And IGN posted an article saying that Last of Us 2 had its biggest first month of any 2020 game, in the US. Well, you know what? That's fucking bullshit, because there's been like no games that come out in 2020. Has anyone realized we've been into quarantine and pretty much all titles have been delayed? So no shit that one of the biggest AAA titles of the year that came out during quarantine, one of the only big titles to come out during quarantine besides Animal Crossing, sold well. Like, Shocker. That would be like just absolutely dumb. Like, what a dumb article. So, IGN really just bringing in, solid reporting. That aside, Last of Us 2 did have absolutely rock solid sales. I think they had several $billion in sales with, several tens of millions copies sold. So that's absolutely solid to see. Good for them. But, deceptive article. It was like the only game that came out in June. Like, get the fuck out of here. Additionally, with Last of Us 2, we experienced some review bombing as well as just some people just posting some unsavory scores. And so Metacritic has decided to take action, and they have implemented a 36-hour wait period before users can start posting reviews. So once the game is released to the general public, the countdown clock starts. 36 hours later, you may start posting review on Metacritic, and this was an attempt to curb some of these review bombings or just people who have not played through, a good enough portion of the game, just getting in there and just posting scores, because there was definitely people that, maybe played 3 or 4 hours and were just upset with the turn the story took, or just upset in general, and just jumped on there and started, posting negative scores. So that was a smart decision. Twitch has also reprimanded the U.S. Army, telling them to stop sharing fake prize giveaways that just send users to the U.S. Army recruitment page. Like, what the fuck? Absolutely scummy. Like, and so, the Army views esports as an avenue to start a conversation, but they're not willing to have a conversation with the people following them when the people want to, know legitimate things like, the Army, has the Army been committing, crimes and other things like that, and they're just banning people. So it's not that they want to have a conversation. They just want you to join the Army. So, honestly, I'm to the point where we should just remove them from streaming services. Like, if they want to stream video games, why not just let them stream on the U.S. Army website? So I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like. It's super scummy. Anyway, so that's kind of it for this week's news. Thanks for hanging out with me. Upcoming game release dates. Last week we had Death Stranding, Rocket Arena, Bounty Battle, Halo 3, Master Chief Collection PC, Drake Hollow, Ghost of Tsushima, Paper Mario Origami King. And upcoming this week, we have Rock of Ages 3, we have Carrion, Dying Light Hellraid DLC, Destroy All Humans remake. That's not this week, but that's next week. So there you go. Oh, good Lord. Too much talking. Where's Brenna when I need her? But that will do it for this week. We'll have some bonus content coming for you guys soon, as well as the Hidden Blade starting soon. I've been thinking about a lot of podcast stuff lately, as well as just our business related things. And it's entirely possible that the Hidden Blade may not. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I'm going to continue moving forward with that, as well as with some additional content for the DL Gaming News podcast. So just keep an eye on social media for announcements and things, and I will keep sharing with you guys as I think of things, because transparency with us is number one. As always, thank you guys so much for listening to our show. There are so many other shows like us, but we love that you choose to listen to us every week, especially during these times when our schedules and our life are interrupted. And to those of you that support us on Patreon, an extra special thank you. Patches Play Games, Dr. Brandroid, Durka, Poolfire93, Miller, Cyber Shorty, and Old Stray Dog. And for our Patreons, the merchandise has started flowing in. Boy, are we excited for you guys. Brenna's absolutely losing her shit. I'm losing my shit. The stuff looks so good. It feels so good. The t-shirts are so comfy. So comfy. I'm stoked for you guys to get your hands on this stuff. So keep an eye out. Once it's all, I've got a couple more shipments I'm waiting on. It took a little bit longer for them to process the orders. One of the orders they finished last week, and they just now like shipped it like 5 days later. Don't know why. So I'm still waiting for everything to come in together. And then once I have it all, I will start sending it out. There are a couple items which we were notified that they no longer carry or produce, which is very odd because one of the items was the Big Cat t-shirt, which I know one of our supporters has, which is almost identical to the Mother Goose t-shirt. It's actually the same t-shirt and the same color, just with different logos, whether you're Big Cat or your Mother Goose. And for whatever reason, they are just not carrying the Big Cat one anymore. No clue why. So we have to make a bunch of changes to the products at our store just because they've discontinued some of it. And we have to change some suppliers because some suppliers are just no longer fulfilling certain products. So there might be some items you might get. A few of you might get an incomplete box. And so once we get that issue addressed, we'll send you the rest of your items at a later date. But for the most part, you'll be getting just about everything, with a few exceptions. Lastly, you can follow us on social media. We are on Instagram now. We are at GooseCatProd for productions, PROD. So we're no longer DL Gaming News, just to make things a little bit easier. And we don't post as much stuff on the Instagram, so we'd much rather like that to be kind of a place for all sorts of things. Otherwise, on Twitter and Facebook, we are at DL Gaming News, and you can follow us individually at DL_Jameson and at DL_Mother Goose. Stay tuned on those social medias, guys, because we'll be posting some pictures of all the stuff headed your way. Super sick. That is it for this week. Good luck and have fun, everybody. And remember, keep the goose loose.
Hey!
Hi!
Do you enjoy being optimistic about bad movies?
Or do you enjoy at least trying to figure out where someone worked really hard on a bad movie?
Well, we've got the podcast for you. New to Robots Radio, we represent Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Each week, we look at 2 movies that did really badly critically, but we try to find the good in them.
And we have segments such as What Could Have Saved It, and Would You Watch It Again?
If you're there on a Saturday night, you want to watch a bad movie, but you're not sure if it's like good bad, or bad bad, or if you should even bother, give us a listen.
You can find us on Robots Radio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
Please come and say hi. We love you already.
Goodbye.
I'm Bob,
And I'm Brad. We're lifelong friends.
and the hosts of the Film and Whiskey Podcast. This is the show where each week we review a classic movie and a glass of whiskey.
That's right, every week we go in depth on a well-known movie while sampling the best from the world of scotch, bourbon, and more.
Because nothing goes better with strong opinion than equally strong liquor.
Bob's a movie nerd,
Brad's an average Joe.
but together we give fresh insights and hot takes on the world of movies and spirits.
So check out the Film and Whiskey Podcast.
Part of the Robots Radio Network.